and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for another Funky Fold Friday. So last week we created a small, very cute little bag, but this week we're going to create a slightly bigger bag with a difference. Reason being, I wanted to have a gift bag for the products we've been making all week. So yesterday we saw us make a thank you card. Wednesday saw us make the box of thank you cards, and then we had that was Tuesday, wasn't it, the box centre, and then Wednesday we had this bar of box of chocolate box. Okay, so I now needed something for the goodies to go in, so I created this bag. Now there are many of these on the internet, so you can find them on YouTube quite simply. But the advantage of this bag is that it actually lies flat, whereas the one that we created yesterday didn't fold as flat as I would have liked. Okay, so this is the bag we're going to create. Again, it's going to use two pieces of DSP measuring 12 by 12. Okay, and I'm going to use this paper. Gorgeous paper. Now this is the paper that I pointed out to you last week, that if you spend over £150 in one sale, you can choose this DSP as part of your freebie. Okay, so let us get on with what we need to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my score tool. God dear, I couldn't say that for nothing of money. Okay, so both pieces of DSP are going to be scored very similar. There's just one score mark that is different. So the first thing, oh, there goes my glue, I do apologise. So the first thing I'm going to do is create the front. So I have a piece of scrap paper, and you'll see why I need that in a second. So my first score mark on this, now what I want you to do is make sure that your paper is the correct way up as the bag would be. So this is going to be the top of your bag, and this is going to be the bottom of your bag. And the first score mark I need to do is at 1.5, but I'm only actually going down to the 7.5 score mark, so which is here on the bottom left hand corner. So I'm just going to pop my piece of card just in place, so that when I go to my 1.5 and I bring it down, I go no further than where I need it to be. So 1.5 going all the way down and stopping at the 7.5 mark. Okay, so that's the first score mark. Then the next one we're going to do is at 3 inches, and that's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, all the way. And then again at 11 inches and all the way down to the bottom. Then we're going to take our cardstock, or our DSP, and we're going to turn it 90 degrees to the right. Okay. So our first score mark is, again on this way, is going to be the 3 inches, and that one is going to go all the way across. Okay, so let's do that, 3 inches all the way across. Now our next score mark is going to be at 4.5. Now if you remember, our 7.5 inch was here, so our 4.5 inch mark will meet it, okay, and it will carry on to the next score line, okay, which is this one across here. Okay, we'll stop there. We'll literally take our paper and turn it over. We'll go back to the 4.5 mark and we'll move it to the first score line. Okay, which was, when the paper was facing that way, it was 11 inches. Okay, so let us create that. So that's our first. We've done that, and we've done all our inches. Perfect. So now we're going to do our next piece of paper. So again, making sure that our top of our bag is at the top of the score, bringing in our piece of white cardstock, we are going to take it to the 7.5 inch mark. We're going to take our 1.5 inches and we're going to come all the way down to the bottom and all the way up again. Okay, so that is our 1.5. We're then going to score it at 3 inches all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to go across all the way to 11 inches and again score that all the way down to the bottom. we're going to turn the cardstock, ESP, to the right, and we're going to score it at 3 inches all the way across. So far we are identical to the first piece. So this is where the second piece comes in different. We're going to go to the 4.5 mark, and rather than just butt up to the second score line, we're going to go all the way across the page, and this is the line that's going to help our bag become a flat fold bag. Okay, so that is all the score marks we need from the board. What we need to do now is to bring in the first piece of paper, and I'm bringing in a rather oversized ruler. It's a metal ruler that my dad used to use many years ago when he was an artist, and it's one of the things that's been handed down to me. Okay, so we've got this 1.5 inch mark that comes down all the way down to the 7.5 inch, which is there. What we need to do now is we need to score from that mark to the next score line, which is the 3 inch score line. And we're going to bring it all the way down diagonally. So let me show you what I mean. So there is the 1.5. The paper's very difficult. If I fold this up like that and just score that across for a second. Okay, so this score line here is going to come down to this here diagonally, and then again from here down to that corner there diagonally. I'm going to bring in the ruler just so we can mark where it's going. Okay, so we're going to go straight across and down, and then we're going to do in the opposite corner exactly the same from there down to the bottom there. Okay, so straight down. Now, so it's created a triangle. Now if I just fold that section there, and I can fold that section there, you can actually see where my triangle has been created. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same of that now on the other piece, which is here. So again, this is the 1.5 inch line. Bring that up so we can actually see it on this paper, and we're going to score from there down to there with our ruler. So there's the 1 inch down to the corner. So just make sure they're going to both measure up, yeah, and I'm going to pop it down there. That's 1, and then I'm going to do the opposing corner from there to there, like that. There we go. Okay, so that has that section done. So we've got our corner there and there. So the next thing we need to do is to burnish all our score lines. So we've done this one, but I'll just go over it to make sure. So that's 1. This is the score line that goes all the way across. So again, I will burnish that with my burn folder. There we go. Then I'm going to go on the side. We've got this one here that goes all the way across. I'm just going to push that down, like so. And we've got this one that comes all the way down and burnish. And then we've got this one that only comes down to the 7.5 inch. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to burnish that one as far as it will allow me to go. Okay, because we then got our diamond. So what you can do is you've got 2 choices. You can fold it with your hand like so, and then just be happy with that, or you could just push it over and see if it will. There we go, so it's bent like that. Can you see? There's the bend. And then you can do exactly the same with the opposite corner. So bring it over down to its corner. There we are. And then we can, if we want to, just bend it and burnish like so. Okay, so that is our corners all completed and all our score marks on that one folded. I'm going to do exactly the same on this one now. So again, burnish Now this is the one where the line does not go all the way across. What we want to do is just bend where it does go. So you've got that bit, that section there. So you can just fold it, give it a pinch, and then you've got it on this section here as well. Again, just give it a pinch. You've got your diamonds, which I've done, and now we can bring that score mark in, but only score it and burnish as far as it will allow you to go. Then we've got the next one here, which goes all the way down the page, and then our last one over here again goes all the way down the page. Right, so that's all our score lines done. Now to do a little bit of cutting. So you will notice when you lay your paper flat that there is a small slither of cardstock just here that we don't actually need. So you're going to come up and cut it as far as the first score line. So you create like a little flap, okay? And then you're going to turn it and you're going to just cut slightly a diagonal. So what we've done is we've cut it off that flap, but we've mitered it just here, and we're going to do exactly the same up in this corner here by mitering. There we go. Put those two pieces. Then we bring it round and we've got this square here. So it's this square, probably see it better on this section. We just need to go a line up, cut up to the first score line. So there, and cut up all the way to the first score line. So it creates this flap. Now we're actually going to use this flap, so what we want to do is again just miter the edges, so that way it makes the bag sit nicely rather than all crunched up. There's no excess paper kind of thing. Okay, so that is our first side completed. Now this is the front because it doesn't have the line going across. So we're now going to do exactly the same with the back. So again we have this bottom right hand rectangle, which we're going to cut off. We're going to go there and cut up to the first score line. Oops, goes up there. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut off there. I don't know if you noticed, but I did an accidental cut there, so we'll just pretend that's not there for the moment, and then we're going to cut straight up to that corner there. We're going to miter, so cut off that section, and then we're going to miter it again all the way up to there. Okay, so we now have our two sections of our bag, like so. Ah, look, I haven't cut that corner there, so let me just do that. I'm just going to miter there. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up the glue that I managed to throw on the floor. So this is my stamp and seal I managed to throw on the floor, and I can't remember how to put this in this way, so it's going to go in very carefully because I do like to throw these things on the floor. Right, so taking the first piece of paper, I'm going to run this stamp and seal all the way down the line here, all the way down, right next to the mark line here. Let's get some glue, there we go. And run the glue all the way down, and then a second line nearer the other edge. Okay, so we've got this glue. So this section here is now going to be stuck to this section. Okay, so I'm going to layer that over as best as I can, making sure it is straight down. It needs to butt up to the paper but not hang over, otherwise we end up with the other paper showing. are now lying flat. So there we have our first side of our bag created. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same, but this section now. We're going to run 2 slices of glue. So nearest to the fold and then furthest away to the fold, like so. I'm just going to turn the paper over, bring this over this way so that we can bring our card over. And again, I'm just going to line it up as best as I can, making sure it is right up to the edge, and that way we don't get, this glue is so good it's stuck my fingers to the paper. Doing a grand job there, aren't I? Right, there we go. So our bag as a whole has been created. We just now need to create the base. So if you look at your paper, you'll see that one side here doesn't have a mark, but there is a side here where it does have the crease. Okay, so this is the back of our bag. So what we want to do is we want to fold in our 2 sides. So these 2 sides, are going to go in here like so. Then this section is going to come back on itself like that, and then I'm going to run glue on this base and bring it up to create the base of my box. So with my glue, I'm going to run it down one side, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. Okay, there we go, all the way down. I'm going to make sure that is as straight as I can be, and then I'm going to bring this up to meet the edge of my box like so, and there we have our box created. Now as you can see, it's all folded up inside. Okay, so again we're still at the back because this is where this fold is. By pushing in the sides, because we've already got that score line and our diagonal there and there, we can fold this section like that. Just put a tiny bit of pressure on and it will fold flat. Okay, so that is how our bag has become a flat fold. So as I said, that was the line that would create the fold. So we can turn it over. This is our front now, where there is no score lines showing. I'm going to turn it round, and I'm just going to put 2 holes in here using my punch. I'm going to make sure, I just turn it this way, you've got these pieces. I'm going to make sure those pieces are in this corner. Okay, I'm going to slide my punch down, making sure that I do not go over the crease, and then I'm just going to punch a hole. I've got 1 hole there. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, making sure that the punch juts up but doesn't go over the thickness, goes in as far as it can, and then it can go through to there. Okay, so that creates the 2 holes now for our ribbon. So what I need to do now is bring in our ribbon. I've got this beautiful pool party ribbon, and I'm going to cut off two pieces of 16 inches. She says, bringing in her ribbon scissors. That's 1, and that is 2. Okay, what we can do now is we just pop our ribbon through the hole. I'm going to create a knot at this end. Now you might find that because I've used a slightly thinner ribbon, that we need to do 2 knots, whereas I only used on the previous bag 1. There we go. Okay, so that brings that one through. Do exactly the same. Feed that through into there. Okay, bring it round. feed that through and knot, and do exactly the same again. And there we go, so we've got the 2 knots. So that is one handle created. I'm going to turn it over and do exactly the same on the reverse. So pop that one through, create a knot. So that's 1 knot. I am going to create a second on this one again. Okay, so create a knot, make a second knot. Obviously if you use a thicker or less fine ribbon, you will not need to do that. Okay, and then that one comes through there, and then I can create the final knot. That's 1, and 1 makes 2. See, I can still add up. There we go. Oh, that's because I pulled it far to 3. This one's going to have 3 knots. Okay, let's just move that along to the section along here. Okay, knot completed. There we go. So now we have our lovely bag using our wonderful paper, so I can now put my gifts in it. So that is the bag I have created just now. This is the bag that I created earlier. So I hope you enjoyed these bags. They were great fun to make, tiny bit fiddly at the sides, but honestly, it's once you get into the rhythm of it, it's actually quite easy. So don't be worried about trying it. So thank you ever so much for joining me this week. I hope you liked all the projects that we created. We'll be back again on Monday for a Case It Monday. So it'd be lovely to have you join me if you're available. Whatever you do, stay safe this weekend and lots of love. Thanks everybody. Bye.